Welcome back everyone. We're down in the gym and as you can see, it's got pretty much every bit of kit that you could ask for. Now, I think all this stuff's great. I'm not going to sit and hate on my outsole of it shop.
Fucked up, yo. Like super fucked up, like really fucked up.
What am I doing? We're in it now, don't care. Anyway, all this stuff's fantastic in the gym. You know, you've got free weights, machines, plate loaded, you've got your barbells. All this stuff is phenomenal and I'm not a hater on it. I think it definitely has its place. But what can we do in this scenario of, let's say you don't like training in public gyms because it's too busy. Let's say that you prefer training at home. Let's say you don't have a budget to invest in a lot of kit. We'll answer those questions with one simple substitution and it's in this other side of the gym. Let's go. Right, so if you're familiar with the channel, old or new, well, if you're old, you'll have seen me cover gymnastics rings in the past. But if you're new, good, because this is going to be something that'll be useful for you. Now, I know 99% of gym users have never touched or never used gymnastics rings. Whether it's down to the fact they're just not aware of them. To be fair, they're getting more in gyms now, which is good to see because I think they're a great bit of kit. But they're not everyone's first choice when it comes to training. However, when you think about them from a training or methodical perspective, they are a phenomenal bit of kit to use, especially when you look at the likes of gymnasts, what they can do, the strength levels. These are a good bit of kit. Sorry for swearing. Anyway, yeah, so if I was in your position of training at home, don't have much space or much of a budget, or you want to, you know, be able to have a solution to take training with you, like if you travel a lot for work, these are your answer. Now, I'm not going to teach you to suck eggs and how you put them up. It's just a loop strap that you throw over, feed it back through the buckle, and adjust to where you need the height to be. Very simple.
Oh, Father's give me strength.
Strong, as you can tell, they hold a lot of weight. And yeah, adjustable. So that's how long it takes to adjust them for the setups. Now, what can you physically do with them and what are the perks of them? Well, if you're taking that traveling with you, that is not going to take up much weight or space in your suitcase with that rolled up and the two sets of rings. So in terms of the footprint they take up, there's not really anything else like them on the planet, because if you grab dumbbells, or as you can see the weight plates here, imagine trying to fit them in your suitcase to take them with you in a 8 or 7 foot barbell. It's not going to happen. You know, you're not The Rock, you don't travel with your gym. So in terms of what you can get for price, space, weight, because a good set of gymnastics rings is probably about £40 now. They do go higher and higher, obviously, but about £40 will get you a very sturdy set, which will last you pretty much and see out your lifetime. I'd put a large chunk of money on that.
I hope so.
But yeah, so the wonderful thing about them is they're a one-stop solution for training as well. So push, pull, legs, it can all be done on them. The reason being, regardless of what your levels are, so set up, so even if it's here, we've got our rowing movements, we've got face pulls, we've got rear delts, and then of course we swap over. Might be a bit high for chest, so we just adjust the straps down. And again, this is the wonderful thing, I'm not swapping between bits of kit. I'm not having to keep changing my weights on dumbbells if I'm trying to find a weight that suits, because what we will cover is if I'm going into a push workout, okay, so we've got chest presses, we've got ring flies, we've got our arms, we've got skull crushers, we've got pelican curls, which are here for biceps. And then of course we can do unilateral work if that's our preference. Oop.
Fuck me.
Foot went. Can do unilateral pressing if it's needed. We can do single arm curls for biceps. So they're damn versatile. Hopefully you get the picture. But one of the great thing with them is, and it's actually handy, I've got the box here. So the progression model is, for me, one of the best that you can find. So if I'm new to starting gymnastics rings, The more vertical I start in any pulling or pushing motion, the easier it is to start. So if I'm starting my press ups up here, because I am more perpendicular with the ground, with gravity more in my favor, reducing the load of the lever on the body, it makes it easier. So if I'm new to training, so even if, let's say, maybe it's not for you, maybe it's for your older mum or dad, or maybe it's for your kids to get into training, this is such a good bit of kit that they can still utilize and use. This isn't just for high-level athletes or beginners. It's on the full spectrum of, it can be tailored to suit anyone's needs. So coming back to the example of the press-ups, if I'm here and I'm pressing, for me it's easy, right? But for someone this could be challenging, which is fine. But as we progress, when we move our feet further back, you can see that I'm increasing that lever towards the ground. Now, ideally, the more parallel I get with the ground, the harder any of these pulling or pushing motions get. So for chest here, again, I can walk a bit further back to here, it gets harder again. And then when you get to, this is just randomly set up, an advanced level, again, feet raised, I'm more horizontal with the floor. The same model is for back training. So doing a standing row here, yeah, it's okay. Getting more horizontal, gets harder, getting more horizontal again, gets harder. And then obviously, get your feet onto the box if you don't slide. And you get the picture, right? These shoes are terrible, by the way.
Mistakes were made.
They're slipping all over. But you get the picture. That's the wonderful thing about them. And then you're thinking, well, it's only limited to doing like your chest, your back, or push and pull days. No, it isn't, because again, they do have this wonderful versatility. So you want to do some, we've seen the arms, so let's do some core training. So if you don't have an ab wheel, you can do your ring rollouts, and you can start on your knees if it's needed. You can start with one ring. You can get into your twists for hitting the obliques. We can hit the obliques from a standing variation. So here, pulling back through. There's so many variations. We can then put hands on the ground, for example. Feet into the rings. Again, using versatility here. Mountain climbers, we've got pikes, getting nice and tall. We've got squat thrusts, drawing the knees in. So, hopefully you're getting the picture as to why I'm such a fan of these. Even leg training. Now, legs is probably one of the more creative aspects of using the rings, because there's probably not as many options, but there's still some good options. So, everyone's familiar with Bulgarian split squats. So we've got Bulgarian split squats. We can actually put feet into the rings like the previous setup. Get my feet in there. Yeah. We can do reverse runners for the hamstrings. We can do hamstring curls. We can do hip thrusts with straight legs. Getting them up there. And we're not done yet, but I've got myself in a pickle here, putting my shoe through. This is raw. I'm not going to edit this out either, because I can't be bothered. So you're watching all the good bits and the bad bits on this video. And then if we're looking at quads, for example, so I like sissy squats. I think sissy squats are fantastic. And you've got the assistance of the ring again, pausing the bottom range. So I can still hit pretty much every other main movement that you see in your machines that you can do with just one bit of kit. That's why I'm so bullish on them. That's why they have been a staple in my workouts for the past 10 years. And I think they're just so underrated. Unbelievably underrated, actually. Every time someone in the gym sees me train on them, and by no means am I at an impressive level, but it always sparks conversation with people, because they kind of, I think it's one of the things they look at and they think, oh, maybe it's something they'd like to try, but they've never decided to give it a go because they may feel silly or stupid or, don't understand where to start with it. But that's the wonderful thing with anything that you start to try and learn. These have the progression model, as I mentioned, to suit you at any level. And for me personally, I rate them so highly that I just can't put into words the value that you can get for such a well-priced bit of kit. And again, this is a commercial gym, right? So, but they still fit right in. Even though there's all those machines through there that you saw at the start of the video, I would still pick to use these. In the instance, and that's not me hating on machines, I think machines are phenomenal. In my preference of training, I'm not so fussed on probably an aesthetic-based result from training. So if you are bodybuilding, yeah, maybe you are going to want to isolate your lats specifically or your chest more if that's a weak link in your physique that you need to improve for stage. Fine, absolutely no issue with that. Would I argue that you miss out on a bit of your, whether it's training the body more as a system instead of isolation, not utilizing these? Potentially, but that doesn't matter if you're bodybuilding, that's not the principle. So yeah, that's not me hating on machines. I think if for injuries, whether that is your sport dictates that you use more machine focus, whether it's because you're trying to do specific isolation work, use them. I'm not going to be one of those guys that tells you the crap, because I use machines still selectively as and when needed. The majority of my training is actually made up on these beauties. So yeah, hopefully you've found that video insightful. Any questions you've got around gymnastics rings, using them, exercises, there's loads and loads that I could show, but I don't just want to bore you to death with me sliding around on this floor with a poor choice of footwear, as you've seen, and just watching me go through random movements, because there's literally every movement you can think of from a machine you can pretty much replicate on the rings. But they're one of my favorite bits of kit. Hopefully more people get to using them. And yeah, any questions, drop them down in the comments. If you haven't liked and subscribed yet, be nice if you did. See you on the next one.